morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, 4-H day. Okay. Ask Chairman Irvin to open us up with a word of prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bow your heads, please. Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity, first of all, to come to you and pray to you, and for the power of prayers and what they do for us on a daily basis, Lord. Thank you for your guidance, the skills that you put in these people, and the ability in their minds. Lord, thank you for the direction that you give us and the support that we see on a daily basis. Allow this opportunity today for us to take full advantage of it. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Let's move on. Now I got it. Speak right into that mic.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of committee. I present HB 217. It is on your second page, third up from the bottom. I bring this on behalf of TCSG. It is a dual achievement program that we're extending the pilot program from 5 years to 10 years. So in 2021 through SB 204, this program was created and funded through that bill. What it does is essentially for those students who have withdrawn from high school, it gives them a second chance to go to the 5 pilot sites for TCSG and earn their high school diploma, as well as college credentials and technical certificates as well. So it's been successful. It's 4th year. So the 5th year is ending. We wanted to go ahead and extend it to 10 years to continue to track its progress. And so what we did was essentially change that pilot period from 5 to 10, as well as change the date for the review of the program to be November 15th instead of February 1st, so that we can review it before session starts. And that's the bill.
Okay, have a question. Chairman Jaspers.
Yes, Sam. Thank you, Speaker. Floor Leader Hong, has this, you said it had 5 sites. Does this bill extend the number of sites across the state?
The sites?
Yeah, the sites, or just to reach more people?
It does not. However, there are 15 other TCSG partner colleges that are offering classes at their school, and they also offer virtual for high school classes.
Okay, have another question, Chairman Martin.
If the lady yelled for a question, isn't it true that in the committee, this was originally written to make it permanent, and in committee working with the floor leader Hong and the governor's office, isn't it true that we ascertained that 227 high school students from 227 high schools are availing themselves of the program at the 5 accredited colleges to deliver the degree? And isn't it further true the reason that for the extension of that is to evaluate how to best implement that in the future, and it may be less physical locations and more virtual locations, so the pilot was the appropriate way rather than the permanent?
That's correct, Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, don't see any other questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Representative Clifton, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 2 bills to present today. They're halfway down page 3, HB 308 and 309.
Okay.
I will be brief on both of these, so I have plenty of time for questions. HB 308 is a motor vehicle bill. We are calling the mini truck bill. I believe this has made it out of the House last year or the year before. Essentially, these imported vehicles over 25 years old will be allowed to drive on county and city roads that have not been marked accordingly. Basically, we're treating them very similar to the side-by-side bill that was passed last year. And one of the changes that Department of Revenue had is they want to treat these as an antique as far as a value, so it would have a $100 per year value that will be paid annually, multiplied by the ad valorem the millage rate.
Okay, don't see any questions on 308. What about 309?
Yes, sir. So HB 309 is a law enforcement bill. So currently in counties, and commissioners can get together and decide that they would like to create a police department. When they create that police department, the commissioners vote and then the citizens vote. As long as it passes the citizens vote, that police department is created. Currently, if the commissioners decide they do not want that police department anymore, with a simple vote, they can abolish the police department. This bill puts in place that the way they create it would be the same way that they would abolish it. Therefore, if after the commissioners vote for it, it would go back to the citizens for a simple vote.
Okay, don't see any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman Bonner.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. Bring before you House Bill 267. It's on page 3, about midway down. It's titled the Riley Gaines Act. This is a measure that seeks to codify a recent rule the Georgia High School Association had in place for a few years, as well as an executive order recently signed. This is simply a piece of common sense legislation that provides fairness for our female athletes in Georgia. It protects the spaces in which they change, specific to those athletic events, as well as the teams they participate on. It also goes into code and allows a more detailed and accurate collection of data across state agencies by replacing the word gender with sex.
Okay, got a couple of questions for you. Leader Hughley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the author of the bill, would you look at Section 5, particularly Section 5.2 and 5.3? It appears that these sections would have an adverse effect on our hate crimes legislation. Did you all discuss that in committee, and has Legislative Council ruled on that?
We did. Thank you for the question. We did discuss that at committee. Legislative Council, to my knowledge, does not make those types of rulings. In terms, they simply would weigh in on format, things like that. But to your broader point, we don't believe that it does impact the hate crimes legislation. In fact, we believe that it does make it stronger. As I mentioned, gender is not currently defined in code, and so where gender appears, it could be a bit ambiguous. But our belief, and based on some review of the bill as well as the hate crimes legislation, is that any prosecution under that portion of the law is made easier by the fact that we place sex in there, because ultimately, if someone commits a crime against someone that has a perception of their sex that is something other than their biological markers, then the crime against them is being committed because of their sex.
One other question to the gentleman. Are you aware, there must be some confusion, because it appears that Legislative Council has issued an opinion that it would have an impact on the hate crimes bill. So obviously there's some confusion about that.
Well, there certainly is. It's not something that I've seen. It's not something that was brought up in committee in terms of Legislative Council. So if there's something that you can show me, I would certainly take a look at it. I know that there is a minority report that makes reference to the bill, but it doesn't provide any particular facts or supporting evidence.
Okay, is that Representative Miller? Is that you? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the author of the bill, have you discussed with prosecutors who actually prosecute hate crimes whether or not the amendments to Section 5.2 and 5.3 would, in fact, impact their ability to prosecute a hate crime committed against a transgender person?
No.
Do you think it would be wise to do that?
I was certainly open to that input. No one provided that type of input at either the subcommittee or the full committee hearing, so it wasn't an opportunity to consider that.
Well, I guess you said that the primary purpose of your bill was to protect girls in shared spaces. True?
And in terms of athletics as well.
Okay, so then why are we touching the hate crimes bill?
Well, what we're doing is being consistent throughout code. So anywhere that gender appears, we're replacing that word with the word sex. We're actually defining sex in the bill. So it doesn't just touch that part of our code. It impacts every part of code where the word gender appears.
I understand that, but I guess my question is your intention to make it more difficult for prosecutors to prosecute hate crimes against transgender people? Is that your intention?
That is not our intention whatsoever. I think that being more specific in the law versus ambiguous and providing terms that are defined, I would submit would be more beneficial in prosecuting a case.
One more question, Mr. Chairman. Is there a difference between sex and gender?
Yes, your sex is what you are when you were born. There's biological markers. We define that. Gender is a perception.
Gender is a perception?
In as much as if someone claims to be a gender, they have a perception of being that gender. And again, I even asked in committee when that was brought up, how many genders are there? And there's 2.
Correct. So, but you believe that transgender people exist, right?
I believe that everyone exists.
But I'm asking about transgender people.
Everyone exists, whether or not they believe that they are a male, a female, they have a perception of their sex. All of those people exist, and this bill seeks to protect everyone.
Wouldn't it be the better course of action if the focus is on shared spaces, locker rooms, and girls' athletics to leave the hate crimes statute as it is so that there is no ambiguity should a transgender person be the victim of a hate crime? Wouldn't that be the better course?
Well, I would argue that the ultimate issue is an issue of sex, right? Not whether someone believed they were transgender. It ultimately comes down to an issue of sex, and that's simply what we're trying to do, is to be consistent throughout Georgia code. So I don't believe in any way that it weakens the ability of anyone to be prosecuted under that portion of the law by making this change.
Well, I will say this, and I will rest. As a person who has prosecuted crimes against transgender people, they are not attacked because of their sex. They are attacked because they are transgender. And I would respectfully request that if your purpose is to protect locker rooms and bathrooms and girls' sports, that you not subject an entire class of Georgians to the possibility of having open season on them by removing them from the hate crime statute.
Thank you for the input.
Okay, we're having some good discussion, and that's fine, but let's do this. If we've got a question, let's ask a question, and let's answer the question, and then we'll go to the next person. So this is not a committee to do this. It's already been through the committee process. Mr. Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for bringing the bill, Chairman. Is it your opinion that with the removal of gender from the hate crimes section of the code, that anyone that is of the sex of a male but believes they are of a female, that a prosecutor can prosecute under the the hate crimes provisions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question. Representative Drenner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. I do have a copy of the letter from Legislative Council that does suggest that this does impact the hate crimes law. I would ask you that if the purpose of your bill is to protect sports, why are there 45 code sections that have been changed in the bill?
Well, again, we're seeking consistency throughout Georgia code. And if we, in the bill where we define certain terms, I think it's important that now that we have those definitions, that we implement those and be consistent throughout Georgia code. To my knowledge, gender is not a defined term under Georgia code. And so what we're doing is replacing it with a term that can be defined and will exist in Georgia law.
Follow up, Mr. Chair. So, in other words, Mr. Chairman, you you're okay with the impacts to the hate crimes law because gender is within the hate crimes statute.
Well, again,
You are all right with people beating up transgender kids now?
absolutely not. And I would submit that as I just stated, that the changes that were being made actually make the bill stronger because we are using definitive terms, not ambiguous terms that don't have a definition in Georgia code. So I believe that we are making a necessary and important correction to an important law.
Okay. Don't see any more questions. Thank you. Chairman Smith.
Good morning, members of the committee, Mr. Chairman. I bring to you today House Bill 180. It's about halfway down on page 2. This is pretty simple. It's closing a loophole which currently exists in our code, which allowed individuals who are not qualified to run for office of the judge of the probate court in counties wherein additional qualifications would be applicable. Most recent example of this was occurring in Rockdale County in 2024. This affects our Article 6 courts across the state. So making sure that when a candidate qualifies, the affidavit they fill out, making sure that the affidavit matches what's in our code. There's a discrepancy currently.
Okay, we've got a question. Representative Williams, is that you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the author of the bill, just for clarification on the qualifications, does this move where a person has to have a legal degree? I just hadn't read the deep down in the bill.
My understanding that with a county that has a population of 90,000 or more, they do have to be a member of the bar.
Thank you.
You have a question? Okay. Vice Chairman, go ahead.
Thank you for bringing the bill, Mr. Chairman. Help me. My understanding is that Article 6 probate courts, unlike non-Article 6 probate courts, can impanel juries and conduct jury trials. Am I correct in that understanding?
That was my understanding as well, Mr. Chairman.
And for that type of court, the law does require currently, you are not imposing this with your bill, but the law does require currently that to be a probate judge in one of those courts, the candidate is supposed to have a law degree.
I would concur with that.
And this simply is a procedural change to make sure that people are qualified when they run for that kind of
It
office.
is. This was brought to me by the Council of Probate Court Judges here in the state to make sure that this seems to be a reoccurring issue every few years, and this would basically nip it in the bud.
Thank you.
Got one more question. Chairman Williams.
Thank you to the author of the bill. I just want to make it clear that that those probate court judges that are not members of the bar are still grandfathered in. This does not affect. We happen to have a great probate court judge in Walton County. He's not a member of the bar, although our population has grown over the threshold that the next probate court judge would have to be a member of the bar. This does nothing to affect their grandfathered in status, does it?
I would agree with the gentleman. This doesn't circumvent that provision.
Thank you. I just want to be clear on that matter. Thank you.
Okay, no more questions. Thank you, sir. Okay, any members of the committee want to ask for a bill? Okay. Chairman Blackman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. HB 222 is on the bottom of page 2, and just updates some information that the courts asked for from each principal and surety, and it's intended to aid in the communication between those agents and the courts.
Okay.
My clerk asked me to bring the bill.
Okay, I don't see any questions. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's set a calendar for our next legislative day, which will be Wednesday. Legislative Day 23. Under modified open, House Bill 14. Move and second. Any opposition? It's on. House Resolution 121. Moved and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 233. Moved and seconded. Any opposition? House Bill 444.
Move.
And any opposition? It's on. Those are all in the modified open. First page on your blue sheet. All right, now under modified structured. House Bill 91.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. Still under that, House Bill 108.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 115.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 131.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 156.
Move.
And second, any opposition? It's on. House Bill 171.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 172.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 176.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 208.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 222.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 253.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 308.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 392.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 410.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. House Bill 414.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. Under structured, House Bill 134.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. Okay, I'll go over those again for you, just make sure we got them all down. Under modified open, House Bill 14, House Resolution 121, House Bill 233, House Bill 444. Under the modified structured, House Bill 91, House Bill 108, House Bill 115, House Bill 131, House Bill 156, House Bill 171, House Bill 172, House Bill 176, House Bill 208, House Bill 222, House Bill 253, House Bill 308, House Bill 392, House Bill 410, House Bill 414, and under structured section, House Bill 134. Thank you all. See you in the morning at 9 o'clock.